This has just been such a crazy year, it feels really hard to actually keep up with all the Digimon news that's happening, but Digimon Liberator just did something crazy. Appmon and Digimon are sharing a universe. What is up, digital companions? My name is Karn EX and welcome back to another newsy update video, I guess. No, this is not my video on Digimon Story Time Stranger. Give me just till Wednesday. There are reasons I can't upload it this Sunday. They are legal. Let's keep going. But yes, a new chapter of Digimon Liberator dropped this week, and it seems to be setting up something that I've suspected since October of last year. Because yes, back in October, we got the reveal of a brand new Digimon called Maquinamon, a composite type. And at the time, of course, we remarked on the fact that its composite nature meant that it had a half mechanical, half bestial design. And on that mechanical side was something that heavily resembled an Applink. And many people told me, Karn, it doesn't matter, it's just a standard connector. It's not going to relate to Appmon at all. Well, about that. So yes, more recently in the TCG, we have now had a lot of Appmon added to the game with their own Applink mechanic. Starting in World Convergence and moving forward, Appmon are going to be an integral part of the card game. And if you didn't know, Digimon Liberator, the webcomic, is kind of the story that is meant to be promoting the TCG most heavily. And while we hadn't seen it to this date, and many people assumed it wouldn't happen, the latest chapter, episode 15 part 1, had the debut of Appmon in Liberator. Now it's interesting that Yao is the first person to see these Appmon, and we have, not for the first time, thank you War Greymon, but a new prominent outing where Digimon clash in battle against Appmon, with Yao Sangomon going to Marine Bullmon and Ryugumon versus an NPC using Navimon, Globemon, Charismon, which, because of how it sounds in Japanese, and I guess in English, Yao thinks might be Calismon for a second, very funny, and indeed even Gaiamon. Appmon are at the front and center of this comic. However, in something a little bit blink and you'll miss it, before the NPC starts using Appmon cards in the battle, it is stood in front of a silhouetted Digimon. And this Digimon is none other than Mockingbirdmon, the recently revealed ultimate level of Maquinamon, or at least one of them. Yes, if we go to Maquinamon's character section, we now see a bunch of evolutions unlocked for it. Currently just 2, however, that are actually visible. The first being its champion level, Mulemon, which I absolutely love. It's got like a Digibeetle body and modeled after a real-world animal, a quadrupedal beast, and that's the same as Mockingbirdmon. The ultimate level, very much a mechanical robotic Digimon, a machine, but based, of course, on mockingbirds, or birds in general. We then have 5 other question mark slots for Maquinamon. Now, to me, what I think is most likely is we're going to see a Mega machine level for Maquinamon, and then a Champion, Ultimate, and Mega for its bestial half, its more animalistic side, with perhaps some kind of merged Ultra level, like a level 7. But it could be something different. However, I do not think it is any coincidence that the mechanical side of Maquinamon's evolutions, Mockingbirdmon, showed up in this Appmon heavy chapter. Because going back to my intro and my video from October, if we look at the mechanical half of Maquinamon, that is the side that has an Applink. Now admittedly, I can't see the Applink in Mulemon and Mockingbirdmon, but I don't think that's super important. What I think is super important is that Maquinamon has become very important after the Imperialdramon Black story arc, moving into the arc that is heavily focused in on Unchained, the person that seems to be partnered with Maquinamon, or maybe they're not a person at all. So for Mockingbirdmon to show up with this NPC and then the NPC to have an Appmon deck that Yao is not familiar with, I think is incredibly intentional. Again, you could definitely view Maquinamon as half Appmon, half Digimon if you wanted to, and that actually may be the case, with Unchained perhaps even being some sort of digital life form trying to unite the 2 types of Digimon, Appmon and Digimon. And there does seem to be a lot of play with multiverse in this arc of Digimon Liberator. They went from the Digimon Liberator Lacuna servers to a whole different kind of server, a different world for this part of the story. And while I don't think the general aim of this is to make it so that Appmon are completely actual Digimon going forward, I do think somewhat this is going to be our way of having Appmon show up in more media with their cousin Digimon going forward. Of course, as I say, they're already in the TCG, and terms like Digivolving and Digimon are used to refer to Appmon. However, that's not the most concrete logic that Appmon are now Digimon, because the same terminology is also used for things like the D-Reaper, which definitely is a digital life form, not a Digimon. However, I feel like the barriers are closer than ever before, and because of this whole thing with Mockingbirdmon showing up in this Appmon heavy chapter, I think we're about to see a big explosion into what it means to be an Appmon and how Appmon and Digimon might link. It would be interesting to have Maquinamon be an archetype that lets you use Appmon and Digimon more freely in the TCG. I mean, you can use both in decks already, there's nothing stopping you, but it'd be interesting to have more synergy between Applink and regular Digimon. And as I say, on top of that, we still have 5 more Digivolution evolutions for Maquinamon we haven't seen. Something else that's interesting in this chapter is we get sort of the debut of Kaguya-mon, who is partnered with Mirai Kinosaki, who is Arisa's older sister, the partner of Shumon in Liberator. And I think it's really cool actually that these two sisters have something in common. You see, Mirai's rookie partner is the newly revealed Hanimon. Hanimon is super cute, being based on Haniwa, a funeral statue in Japanese culture. Digivolving then to Kokeshimon. Kokeshi are a type of doll. Karakurumon, Karakuru meaning to apparently pull, stretch, and move a thread, which you can kind of see in the dress work and things like that. And then finally Kaguya-mon, getting its name from Kaguya Hime, from the tale of the bamboo cutter. And yes, this is also probably the inspiration for Celesteela from Pokemon. No, it's not copying, it's just similar Japanese mythology and lore inspiration. It's interesting to me also that Kaguya-mon is so mechanical. In fact, its whole line, apart from Haniwa-mon, do gain a lot of mechanical traits. So it's interesting that we see this debut in the very mechanical Appmon-y part of Digimon Liberator. Also, as an aside, Kaguya-mon has been teased for absolutely ages in the background of Digimon TCG art, so it's crazy to see it actually be realized now after so long. Digimon Liberator really is a slow burn. Like I say, we've known about Maquinamon since October of last year. What's also fun is that these are all puppet Digimon, and indeed Hanimon digivolves from Kyaromon in EX9, and wouldn't you know it, Kyaromon was also used as the entraining for Shumon, the partner of Mirai's sister, Arisa. So these two siblings both get to have puppet Digimon as their kind of partners, which I think is really cool. I like it when family members in Digimon have related Digimon, whether it be like variants of the same Digimon, Digimon with the same attributes or typings, etc. I think it's really neat, and I'm really curious to see how Mirai is going to factor into the story of Liberator, especially with Appmon being introduced. On a story level, I do think Maquinamon is going to be the result of some kind of experiment, as we do actually see real Digimon turning into Maquinamon, with Unchained being able to create 49 clones using Bemon's data, and then use those clones to take over NPCs and wild Digimon. And a huge chunk of the webcomic has just been trying to defeat this wave of Maquinamon. So I can really see this overwhelming, teeming Maquinamon threat perhaps tying in to Appmon also invading Digimon in some way. Perhaps one version of a game created for people to enjoy was a solely Appmon game, and now Appmon are being brought forward. I don't know. All I do know is that this is a huge leap in comparison to how Appmon have been treated since the season finished. And it's wild, instead of just seeing Wargreymon show up and Agumon, of course, as a cameo in Appmon, now having Appmon be a big presence, at least in one chapter so far, in a Digimon-focused property. They didn't have to do this. So yeah, really exciting time for Appmon, and perhaps the kind of hierarchy of Digimon forever. Thank you, The Rock. But anyway, that's it for now. I just wanted to kind of rant a little bit about all this implication for Digimon Liberator. If you're not reading Digimon Liberator, I would highly recommend you do so. The link is in the description down below. Sorry that I had to push this Sunday's video about Time Stranger to Wednesday. You will understand why on Wednesday. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for sticking with me. This whole week with flying and everything has been an adventure, but I'm glad to be home and starting to work on Digimon videos again properly. So thank you to my sovereign ZDK14, as well as everyone else who supports me over on patreon.com/Karn EX, and everyone here who supports me with YouTube channel memberships. I appreciate you too. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time when we go digital. Bye bye.